Hey everyone, it's Kyle, and today I'm going to be reviewing the film All the Money in the World. This is Ridley Scott's newest film and tells the story of J. Paul Getty, played by Christopher Plummer, who was at one time the richest man in the entire world, and when his grandson gets kidnapped, he offers no money in order to save him. This leads his devoted mother, played by Michelle Williams, to take charge and try to convince Getty to pay the ransom before it's too late. In the process, she also receives help from Getty's main security man, played by Mark Wahlberg. I think it's impossible to talk about this movie without mentioning some of the controversy surrounding it. Of course, Kevin Spacey was attached to the project, but due to a lot of allegations, he was of course removed from it, and they reshot every single one of his scenes with actor Christopher Plummer. And in all honesty, guys, that was the biggest reason I wanted to see this movie. I wanted to see just how well Christopher Plummer was going to do replacing Kevin Spacey, and I must say, he did an amazing job. As always, I mean, Christopher Plummer is definitely one of the most prolific actors out there. He has incredible diction. And again, you gotta love Christopher Plummer. He was awesome. Like Morgan Freeman, he has a very calm demeanor. He doesn't have to yell to get his point across. And every scene featuring him I thought was just beautifully done. I completely forgot that Ridley Scott was the director until I saw Directed by Ridley Scott in the opening credits. And I was like, oh my god, so I've seen 2 Ridley Scott movies in 1 year. But fortunately, this movie is way better than his other crap pile. Oh man, that was bad. Of course, since it's a Ridley Scott movie, the visuals in the film have to look amazing, and they do. It's an incredibly well-shot movie. I thought it looked great. It's been a while since I've seen Michelle Williams in a movie, but I thought she did a pretty good job. I was impressed with her performance. I liked Mark Wahlberg in this movie. I didn't think he was phenomenal, but Mark Wahlberg is usually entertaining, so I found his character enjoyable. I love all the scenes where Wahlberg's character is interacting with Getty, and my personal favorite scene is where Getty is telling him the difference between getting rich and being rich. The idea that anyone can become wealthy, but it's all about maintaining that wealth and making sure that your family loves you for who you are and not trying to pickpocket you because money corrupts people. While I believe the movie is well directed and did rivet me at times, I found All the Money in the World to be a very uneven movie. Like, there were certain scenes in the film that I felt were unnecessary or I felt weren't really paced well. I think the movie is way too long. I think it's about 2 hours and 15 minutes. When it could have been 1 hour and 45 minutes, and I think it would have been way better structured. There were certain scenes that I wish were longer because they would have been more impactful for me, and then there were other scenes where I was like, you know, you could have cut this down by at least 10 minutes, and I think it would have made it better. Now, I'll make the confession that I really didn't know much about this story. I really didn't know anything about it. So like Molly's Game, it was all about trying to get immersed into the world and understanding the characters and figuring out what their motivations were. Now, for those of you like me who were not aware of what was going on and what would happen throughout the film, there is a graphic sequence towards the end that, if you haven't seen the trailers, I will not spoil for you, but I'm just going to give you a warning that it does kind of come out of nowhere. And it was quite shocking to see. I was very surprised that they went that far. And it's one of the few times that I ever kind of like almost closed my eyes because it was really that intense for me. And for anyone who knows me personally, I don't really get too offended by violence. I think I got desensitized to it at a very young age. But that scene in particular really did shock me. So they did a very good job with it. But I'm just giving you guys a heads up. The scene definitely left a very sour taste in my mouth for the rest of the movie. But I'm very sure that was the intentions of Ridley Scott and everyone making the film, so I can accept that, but it was quite shocking for me to see that. Overall, guys, All the Money in the World I thought was a pretty good movie. I felt it could have been better. The fact that it was very uneven at times, just the story took a long time to really get going, and I think the second act could have been a lot shorter, but I think the conclusion to the film was great. As I said before, the acting is all really good. Michelle Williams, even when she doesn't have a lot to do in certain scenes, does do a pretty good job with what she's given. Mark Wahlberg, I think, did a pretty good job. I think they could have found someone a little bit better, but I do like Wahlberg in the film. And of course, Christopher Plummer was amazing. Love seeing him. I'm going to give All the Money in the World a B+. So if you guys saw All the Money in the World, what did you think about it? I'd like to hear your comments, so send them down in that comment section below. I thank you all so much as always for watching. Next review is going to be for the Post, and then Phantom Thread, and then I'm making my top 10 movies of 2017. Very, very excited about it. Alright guys, thanks, stay tuned.